Ugh. Is it just me or does my forehead look really weird today? Let's just, let's hide that. Despite the global conflicts and differences that we have with our fellow neighbors, we all have one thing in common. We are pissed that Death Note was taken off of Crunchyroll. Yeah, that's right. I added this into the script last minute because the other day I was on Crunchyroll and I saw that Death Note wasn't available. Like, why am I paying $8 a month to not be able to watch one of the best animes of all time? But I digress. Crunchyroll, fix that. Another thing we all have in common as human beings is our need for water.
Just water would be great.
Oh my god, I love water.
Me too! I'm 70% water!
Okay, me too! What are the odds?
So 2 waters.
If it makes you feel any better, that is the one and only BoJack reference I'm making in this video. I'm a changed woman, but it is true. We do need water to survive and not have radioactive pee that singes your nostrils when you get a whiff of it by accident when you're going to flush the toilet. I know what color your pee is. I'm a little concerned for you. Since water is a dire substance for survival, people care about the quality of the water that they're drinking, obviously. Wanting clean water isn't inherently evil. It's a basic human right. Yet Flint, Michigan still struggles to have that specific basic human right, and it's been going on for over a decade now. Somebody fix that. It's not gonna be me. I can't do anything, but somebody needs to fix that too. While we're on the topic, put Death Note back on Crunchyroll and also give clean water to Michigan. Solving the world's issues. What can I say? You think I just call myself world because I feel like it? No, there's a purpose. Anyone with a working brain cell can tell you that single-use plastic bottles are terrible for the environment, so most people use reusable cups or water bottles or whatever. I have a few reusable water bottles. As I think about my family and our collection of water bottles as a collective, I've noticed that my brother specifically, he really brings home the water bottles. He has so many, it's insane. And they're all the Gatorade green and orange water bottles that a lot of athletes have. It's just, who needs that many of the same water bottle? But whatever. To his defense, though, a lot of the water bottles that he gets it for free. In short, reusable water bottles are great for the environment, in theory. Unfortunately, there are people out there who take these reusable water bottles to the extreme, and that kind of defeats the whole purpose of being sustainable and using reusable water bottles, because it's like if you have so many reusable water bottles, it's at a point where it's just kind of ridiculous. And we're going to be talking about that a little bit today. Since the dinosaurs were roaming the earth with Adam and Eve, I think, or I don't know, history. I missed that episode of Crash Course. Everyone talks about using Crash Course to help pass their tests. I just winged it. I let God handle that. And I still graduated high school. Basically, my point is that for as long as I can remember, for as long as anybody can remember, really, I think that reusable water bottle brands have always been some sort of a trend. Like there's always been a brand that has just been more popular than all of the rest. Like this one brand, Nalgene? Nalgene? I don't know.
Nalgene.
Was that so hard? You couldn't do that in the video?
But there's one specific brand. I saw this literally the other day. I think I saw this like earlier today, maybe. No, it was yesterday. But I saw somebody carrying this water bottle, like, as I was scripting this. Like, literally, I was typing about the brand, Nalgene, Nail, whatever the hell they're called.
Nalgene.
Literally typing it up. And as I was typing it, I was in the library when I was doing this. As I was typing it up, I looked over to my left and I saw somebody with that exact water bottle. And I was like, whoa, that's crazy. I was just talking about you. All good things. A-B+. That was a BoJack reference. But I'm not adding it in the video. That one brand, it was a biggie back in the day. But it's obviously still pretty popular today as well. And when I say back in the day, I mean like 13 years ago. Listen, I'm 22. There's some 12-year-olds who watch my videos and they're like, damn, you're old. But in the grand scheme of things, where is my life experience? You know what I'm saying? Like, back in the day is barely a decade ago. Like, another brand I can think of is like Yetis. Yetis are still very popular, and they were popular back in the day as well. Those like stainless steel twist top bottles. And that's not a popular brand necessarily. It's just like a really popular style of reusable water bottle. I actually have one of them. I have multiple of these, but this is the only one I have on my person as of right now. Look, I got this from Twitch. They did a Pride Month thing a couple years back, and they sent me this. So that's that cute. I think I even said I made a TikTok reviewing, well, not reviewing, but I was just showing what came in my Twitch package. And I said in the TikTok, I have too many reusable water bottles, so this is pretty pointless, but also thank you.
I have too many water bottles, but thank you.
Also, another really popular brand is, or style of water bottle is like I was saying with my brother and his water bottles, his are like the nipple top bottles that are just popular amongst athletes and sportsy people. So my point is that there's just so many different types of water bottles out there, and it's cool. It's a cool little community. I love looking at water bottle brands and looking at like the styles. This is so fascinating to me. Now, let me say for the record though, before we go any further, that my videos are almost always from my perspective. So please refrain from being a dick about that when I'm speaking about my personal experiences, because there's people who are older than me that love to jump in my comment section and talk about, actually you're wrong about blah 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 blah. I'm like, I'm talking about my experiences, dog. And I even say if I remember correctly, and sometimes I don't. This is all from my personal experience. It's not even just about age too, it's also about location. I'm also in the South. Point is, this is from my perspective, okay? And from my perspective, the first water bottle brand that actually felt sensationalized to me was the Hydro Flask back in 2019. And like I said, popular reusable water bottle brands have always been a thing, but I never had an overwhelming desire to succumb to the societal pressures of buying like one of those water bottles. And even with the Hydro Flask, I mean, the Hydro Flask definitely like awakened something, a demon inside of me, but still, even then, I didn't really feel like an immense pressure to buy a Hydro Flask before. The Hydro Flask phase, that's going to be difficult for me to say. I apologize already. But the Hydro Flask craze made me briefly consider buying one for like a second. Like I said, it awoke a demon in me. I saw the light for a second, but I was dragged back down to hell. The popularity with the Hydro Flask was directly linked to a certain aesthetic. The Visco girl. In case you forgot, Visco was this photo editing app, or maybe it's still, I'm pretty sure it's still around, but nobody talks about it or cares about it anymore. Sorry. I would say this is a flop era, but honestly, this is a permanent state of being. Yeah, Visco, it was a photo editing app that was really popular amongst like young girls, teens, and young adults. The Visco filters were all over the damn place back in 2019. Like, if you saw someone posted on Instagram, best believe it went through Visco first, right? The heavy filters were just everywhere. I don't think a candid picture of anything has ever been taken unedited, does that exist? Do you have photos in your phone from 2019 where there's no filter on it? I doubt it. That's a joke. I know you do. It's a joke. You people are so annoying. Because the joke's not funny if I have to like express that it's a joke. Anyway, in short, the Visco girl was basically a repackaged version of the Starbucks loving basic white girl from like the early 2010s. In order to be a proper Visco girl, you have to have a Hydro Flask with a bunch of stickers and charms attached to it, or that's one of many things that you're supposed to have. With the beautiful gift of hindsight, the insulated water bottles were harmless to everything except for my peace of mind, okay? Have you ever been in a quiet classroom and somebody dropped one of their Hydro Flasks? Like, that shit would trigger a war veteran with PTSD. Hell, I'm ducking under the table and assuming that airstrikes are finally happening. I'm convinced that a gunshot or a nuclear explosion would be a much more soothing sound to listen to than a Hydro Flask hitting the ground. God, it's so jarring. It sucks the soul out of you. Like, it's like you're in a cartooning, and you know how cartoon characters, they die and they're like, their souls just float up or down. That's literally what happens every single time a Hydro Flask falls. High school was hell with those Hydro Flasks around. I'm just thinking about it is making me nauseous. I feel ill. Oh my God, I'm shaking. I'm literally shaking. I'm really tired. I'm recording this at like 1 a.m. The Hydro Flask trend birthed the term emotional support water bottle, which I think is kind of cute, all things considered. Like, come on guys, catch a vibe. Right, that's kind of cute, right? Despite the cringe that it has tagged along with the Visco girl title. Truthfully, I never saw anything wrong with the girls who loved their hydro flasks and loved being a Bisco girl. Listen, I support women in most of their endeavors. Not all of you. Some of you bitches are weird, but I love the rest of you. In a general sense, the Visco girl, I never had like an issue with it. Plus, I think that the hydro flasks, they would come in handy in a fight. Like, knocking somebody out with one of those bricks, like, they're not getting up. Also, seeing people dress up their water bottles, it's cute. And I've done the same thing. Look, I have, okay, this isn't a water bottle, this is a reusable mug. But look, I have this one. It's the initial R because my first name starts with the R. I know, contrary to popular belief, my name is actually not WURLD. I know, if I were to pull out my birth certificate right now, it's not my government name. It's not even a middle name, y'all. It's nowhere to be found. It's not even a W in my name. I know. Is your real name even WURLD? It's not. It's Ned from 21 Pilots. Isn't he the cutest epic thing you ever seen? God, I remember when the Chlorine music video came out. This little sucker came out. Truthfully, at the time, did not know anything about the lore. And so watching that music video was very interesting for me because I was like, I don't know who the hell that is, but rock on, freaky dude. Maybe I just wasn't seeing the worst of it at the time, but the hype around owning a specific reusable water bottle, it just didn't really seem that bad during the hydro flask era specifically, because I think that the hydro flask, okay, it was more so about the aesthetic of being a Visco girl. I don't think that owning a hydro flask was an absolute necessity to be a Visco girl, and so I think that owning a hydro flask, I think there was just less of a pressure to actually own one if you wanted to sell off that aesthetic, because I mean, does the hydro flask help? Of course, but I don't think it was an absolute requirement. But I think that the Stanley Cup craze, however, I think that's when owning a branded item, I think that's when it really got bad. Sorry, hockey fans, we're not talking about that Stanley Cup. I know a lot of them were confused when the Stanley Cup started trending and they realized that they weren't talking about hockey. It's like, why does everyone care about hockey all of a sudden? Sorry, y'all. Nobody outside of the hockey romance readers care about you. You know, I read that book Icebreaker. I gave it 3 stars at the time. I think I would bump it down to a 2 now. It wasn't terrible. It just, that's all I'm going to say. Read it if you want. That's what you're into. I don't think it's a terrible book. I've definitely read worse. So Stanley Cups, they've been huge for the past couple of years, specifically like 2023, I think is like where it's really reached its peak popularity wise. Listen, I'm not going to sit here and woman-splain what a Stanley Cup is. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. I would specifically argue though that the moment that the Stanley Cup exploded in popularity was when that lady's car caught on fire and the Stanley Cup managed to survive. And I'm not going to lie, I'm not going to hold you. All right, that video alone almost made me consider buying one. Almost. But anyway, the Stanley Cup, right? The 40-ounce tumbler with the handle is probably the most popular style of the Stanley Cup, because with all these brands, there's different styles and types of their cups. But I think that with like the really popular brands, there's usually like that one style that's very popular. Like with the Hydro Flask, for example, I think that like the bottles that look not exactly like this, but like this is the most popular size. This is my actual water bottle. I strictly put water in this one. This is the bottle that stays at my bed. So that's the most popular Hydro Flask. And then again, the 40-ounce tumbler with the handle. This is an off-brand Stanley. Also, that's not a Hydro Flask, obviously. That's a Hydra's Peak. This is my off-brand Hydro Flask. I got this on sale for like $15 during Black Friday. She gets the job done, all right? She is insulated. She keeps my drinks cold for long periods at a time. This is a Team VV cup, not a Stanley. But she does exactly the same thing. But yeah, truthfully though, with the Hydro Flasks, a lot of people say that the Hydro Flasks themselves, they are obnoxious to look at sometimes, because there are so many jokes out there about women who are lugging these big cups around. They're only drinking like a quarter of the content that's actually inside it, and it's just really bulky. Like seriously, it's bigger than my head. And I got a pretty big dome over here. All right, the dome zone. All right, it's a sold out stadium. This is huge. The Stanley Cup craze has been a wild fad to experience in real time. The main difference between the Stanley craze and the Hydro Flask era, to me, has been how people are engaging with the brands. Because like I said, the Visco Girl starter pack had a lot of different elements that just so happened to include the Hydro Flask. It's an aesthetic, right? It's a vibe. For the most part, you could be a Visco Girl without technically having a Hydro Flask. All right, if I slapped a bunch of stickers on this, you wouldn't know the difference. And if you do notice the difference, you wouldn't care. But yeah, I think that the craze for the Hydro Flask was kind of just a side effect of the popularity of an overall aesthetic. Or maybe it's both. Maybe the aesthetic is a reaction to the popularity of the Hydro Flask. Or maybe it's a mutually beneficial thing for both parties. I don't know. I'm not a 2019 TikTok historian. I don't have a scribe that's keeping tabs on everything that has ever happened on the internet ever. Please, y'all. The Stanley Cup craze, however, is more so fueled by consumerism. I'm not saying that the Hydro Flasks weren't fueled by consumerism. I just think that owning a Stanley is about worshiping the brand rather than a lifestyle. When I think of a Stanley Cup, I don't have an aesthetic in mind. I mean, there's a specific demographic of people that pop into my head. I'm not going to say what the demographic. I think we all know who they are, but I'm not going to say it. When new Stanley Cups are announced, people are flocking in herds to try to get their hands on a limited edition Stanley, despite already having like 12 of them in their look in your cabinets. You already have a pink Stanley Cup. You don't need the Starbucks limited edition Stanley that's a slightly different shade of pink. You don't need that. Go home, Brittany. We cannot have this conversation about the Stanley Cups without talking about overconsumption, baby. Yeah, let's go. I love overconsumption. Or calling people out for overconsumption. It's my favorite hobby. It's my favorite thing to complain about. Some people try to buy every Stanley under the sun and justify it by calling it a collection. But you know what? Maybe they're right. Maybe Stanley Cup collectors are no different than that one person who has like a bunch of merchandise of L from Death Note, or that one girl who has a whole room full of that one dude from South Park. I don't watch South Park. I don't know who he is. I think that the difference between collecting merchandise of your favorite character and collecting Stanleys is the functionality of the two hobbies, if that makes sense. Like, I think that as a collective, as a society, I think that I can say that we understand that collecting figurines or plushies are mainly for decorative purposes and aren't really meant to do anything special. Like, look at this, right? One of the biggest things, or the first things that Stanley Cup collectors love to use as a rebuttal is point out how many plushies that somebody has. So I have a good chunk of plushies over here. This isn't all. This is the ones I care about. These are my favorite plushies that I love to display. They're kind of in disarray right now. I need to fix my bed. You can't see them, but I have multiple of the same character over there. Cinnamoroll from Sanrio. I have 3 different plushies of him. One of them's a Build-A-Bear, one of them's from this one store called Miniso, and another one is a Squishmallow. Obviously, having 3 isn't overconsumption. Like, it may be a little unnecessary to have 3 different ones, but to my defense, they're different. They're different sizes, they're different shapes. It's still the same character. But my point is that say that I had more than 3, say I had like 30. Would that be considered overconsumption? Like, would that be considered too much? I don't know. That's like a difficult question to have. Like, obviously nobody needs 30 of the same character. I'm satisfied with my 3. Truthfully, I don't have an overwhelming desire to have any more. Anytime I'm craving a new plushie, it's because I want a different character. Point is this overconsumption is having all these, I suppose in theory, having all those plushies, it's pointless. Like, they're not, outside of making me feel happy and giving me dopamine and serotonin and all those other stuff, outside of that, they're not really doing anything. They're kind of just hanging out, taking up space. How is a plushie any less wasteful than having a Stanley Cup? And that's a good question that I don't have an answer to. But I think that in the grand scheme of things, I think that the reason why people judge others who own a lot of Stanley Cups, I think that the disconnect there is that a lot of people, when they see Stanley Cups, they just see them as reusable cups. They don't really see it as merchandise, because I think that's the thing. People are treating Stanley Cups like they're merchandise of something, and I guess technically that it is merchandise, but that's not how the average consumer really reacts to the products, if that makes sense. It's like, when you see a brand come out with a line of cups, you don't think that you need to have like every single cup. Meanwhile, there could be a line of merchandise from a TV show. And, you know, people who are diehard fans of that TV show, they may want one of each, because it's each piece of merchandise is like a different character, or maybe like a different form of the merchandise of that one character, if that makes sense. And so it's like it just has more value. I don't know. I think that's just different. I think it's just different. The way that we think about Stanley Cups is just different than how we think about merchandise of a popular franchise. And so that's why a lot of people don't think that you should have that many Stanley Cups, or think that it's pointless to have that many Stanley Cups, because it's like, it's not merchandise, really. It's not memorabilia. It's just a cup. The overconsumption conversation, like I said, it's hard in this context, because Stanley Cup collectors really believe that they're valid in what they do. Same as, like, they feel like they're definitely like the same as manga collectors or Pokemon card collectors. I really don't have an answer to this question, because truthfully, the Stanley Cup collectors are a small minority. I don't think that everybody who owns a Stanley Cup has like 50 Stanley Cups waiting back at home. Like, I think that's just very specific, and I'm not say rare necessarily, but like, I just don't think that that's an issue, or a big enough issue to really care about it, if that makes sense. However, I think my big issue with the Stanley Cups, or at least the aura, the vibe that is associated with the Stanley Cups, is that one mom who hopped on a TikTok and had a rant about how mean the girls at her daughter's school were, because her daughter got a reusable cup for Christmas, but it wasn't a Stanley Cup. And when she went to school, this was during Christmas, by the way, and so when she went back to school during New Year's, a lot of these girls were making fun of her daughter because she didn't have a Stanley Cup. And it was so mean. Like, these little girls, they see Stanley Cups trending on TikTok and blow the whole thing out of proportion, because, let's be real, these kids are not very smart. No offense to the children, but you guys are kind of dumb. No shade. I remember being in grade school and feeling that social pressure when it came to owning certain things. Like, I used to beg my mother to get me a Jansport backpack, because that was the most popular backpack brand, and they were generic as hell, I'm not gonna lie, but I thought that I would look cool with a Jansport backpack because it's sleek and it's simple. And it's not my Smurfs backpack that I brought in 4th grade, because I didn't get the memo that you weren't supposed to have character backpacks by 4th grade. Like, imagine my surprise. 3rd grade, I had a Wizards of Waverly Place backpack. Loved that thing. All of my friends had like a character backpack. Everybody had some sort of random character. I pull up to 4th grade. Everybody has normal backpacks, and I pull up with a Smurfette backpack. I was pissed. I must have missed the memo. When did we grow up? I'm still scarred to this day. I was so embarrassed at the time. Well, not embarrassed, but I did feel kind of childish. Why am I pulling up to the function with a Smurfette backpack? Well, everybody else has normal backpacks. I feel so lame. But now, I would gladly pull out the Smurfette backpack today. Like, please. It's all full circle, baby. Yeah, that's just one of the few things that I really felt like that pressure. You know, remember back in the day when it used to be a trend to make fun of somebody for owning Skechers instead of like Nikes or something? You know, the what are those? You know, that Vine? That definitely didn't help the situation at all. If anything, it just increased it, and it really gave people permission to go ham and go crazy on that. And Crocs, Jesus Christ, while we're talking about shoes, Crocs, they used to be the laughing stock of the shoe world, and now suddenly everybody and their mother and their dead grandmother has a pair of Crocs. It's crazy. I have multiple pairs of Crocs now. Listen, I'm not sponsored or anything by Crocs, but Crocs has this 2 for $50 sale that they have every other week. And they keep blowing up my phone saying that this is a limited time deal. Yeah, right. I get this text message every other day. It can't be that limited if you're always doing this sale. Like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, I fell for the okie doke the first time, but now they're annoying the hell out of me. Please buy their shoes so they can stop talking to me. Oh, WURLD, just opt out of the text messages. No! It's about the principle.
The jokes write themselves. Look at the text message I got as I was editing this. Look at this. Hey, Crocs, 2 for $50 alert. Stock up on footwear and save. You deserve it. This deal ends tomorrow. Don't act like this is an urgent matter. Literally last Friday, they sent the same exact text message. Y'all are so annoying. Buy their shoes, please.
My point is that children and teens are usually the biggest pocket watchers out there. They are the only people on the planet who really care about brands. Except for, I guess, rich people. I guess they care. Some of them do. Maybe. I don't know. I'm just going off of information I've seen in, like, movies. They seem like they care. I'm not blaming the Stanley brand for the actions of others, especially like these kids who just don't know how to engage in society and be normal human beings. But I think that the elitism that is tied into the cups, it's very strange. And don't get me started. Oh my God. Don't get me started with the accessories, y'all. The accessories are absurd. You're buying all of these accessories for a cup. Guys, like, this isn't overconsumption. This is just stupid. Like, this is just dumb. Like, clearly you don't know what to do with your money, so give it to me instead. Or subscribe. Do that too. I'm okay with that as well. But also give me money. I like money. But yeah, the accessories I'm talking about are not the stickers or the straw covers that people have for their Stanley Cups. Like, no. Those are fine. I love a good sticker moment. God. They're so fun. I like seeing the stickers that people have in their water bottles. It really says a lot about a person, the stickers that they have on their water bottle. My stickers show that I'm a narcissist and that I love 21 Pilots. But the accessories that I'm specifically talking about are like the snack trays and the little backpacks that people put on their Stanley Cups. A snack tray on the Stanley Cup. We've lost the plot of the movie. Somebody go revive the script, and we need to rewrite history. That's not what the director said to do. I'm telling you that right now. Somebody's doing improv, and I'm gonna need them to stop yes-anding us to death and get back on the wagon. Like, seriously, listen, I hate to be the fun police. God, I love having fun. I would rather die than be the fun police, but I'm gonna have to die a little bit for a second because I'm just gonna, no, guys, you can't. I mean, you can, obviously. I can't stop you from doing this, but you can't stop me from sitting here and shaming you on the internet. You look ridiculous and stupid, and you look dumb, and you should have invested in the snackies that were playing during the commercial breaks on Cartoon Network. They were shoving that stuff down your throat. You should have just bought a snackies. That's the whole point. You drink and you eat. They already have a product that does that for you. Why are you spending $20 on a little tray for your cup? You have bowls. I know you have bowls in your house. Use a bowl. I need a drink. But wait, there's more. Simultaneously with the Stanley Cup popularity, there was another popular alternative reusable water bottle that was circulating around the internet, and it's called the Owala. Owala means family. And that means we don't leave you bitches behind, right? They definitely said that in the movie. I've seen these water bottles from time to time, but I didn't really notice the Owalas until recently. And it's actually kind of the reason why I decided to make this video. I genuinely believe that the Owala may get the Stanley treatment very soon, if it hasn't already. It's crazy. I've seen so many of them lately, like as I was scripting this video, because again, this is the Owala is the whole reason why I decided to make this video. And so as I was like trying to throw this video together for you, I just noticed, I was looking around my college campus and I was noticing the amount of people who had Owalas. Like, I think today alone I saw like 13 people with Owalas. I was like, have y'all always had those? Where did these come from? The public, I think, is suffering from a Stanley Cup fatigue, and the Owala kind of corrects some of the problems that people have with the Stanley Cups. For example, the straw that the Stanley Cup has is exposed with no cover, which is annoying. The Owala, however, it actually has a built-in straw that's covered by a cap that comes with the water bottle. Also, another plus to the Owala is that it's leak proof. Some people call it potty training. Like, I saw a video of people being like, hey, is your water bottle potty trained? Let's go back to the drawing board on that name, guys. But yeah, unlike the Stanley Cup, you can flip the Owala upside down and nothing will spill out. I sound like I'm sponsored. Like, here are all the great things that you can do and use your Owala cup for. It's like, dude, I don't even own an Owala. Like, I'm not speaking from personal experience here. I will say though, that from a visual perspective, I love how colorful the Owalas are. I saw this one TikTok of somebody showing off their Owala and it was primary colors. To say I was geeking would be the understatement of the century. Y'all know I love primary colors. That's kind of like my whole thing. I don't know if you noticed that. It was a little sad though that some people like the Owala because of the straw part. It has more of a mouth shape to it. So when you're drinking out of the Owala, it doesn't cause the mouth wrinkles or, you know, that the suction cup face, and so it helps with the mouth wrinkles. That's a odd thing to notice and care about, truthfully, because it's usually just younger people who really care about this stuff, and it's like they're trying to beat aging, and you're not beating the aging allegations. You're getting old. All right, imagine taking all those preventative measures just to get hit by a bus tomorrow. The only thing certain in life is death. Don't be a buzzkill. Live your life. Stop being scared of being alive. Jesus Christ. But anyway, I've been yapping about reusable water bottles for 40 days and 40 nights now, and you're probably wondering what the point of all of this is. Like, why am I sitting here on Beyonce's internet and really making a big stink about this? And you know what the gag is? The gag is that I don't have a point. I just wanted to talk about water bottles. Truthfully, I just wanted to talk about reusable cups. Now, honestly, I do think that the concept of having reusable cups as trends, I think that's very fascinating. It's like just a interesting thing to me because it's just so ridiculous and kind of random. Can you imagine like if lawnmowers had like a trend going and it's like you have to have this lawnmower? Why do we care about this thing so much? This is such a random product to really hyper focus on and care about. Just of all things to be snobby about, why would you be snobby about the type of reusable water bottle that you have? Like, that's so stupid to me. But also it's sad because, you know, capitalism or whatever, but that's not what this video is about. I don't want to jump on here and make a political stink about Stanley Cups or whatever. I don't care about that, right? And I'm not here to police you in your actions when it comes to reusable cups or whatever, because at the end of the day, I don't care that much. I mean, yes, did I care enough to make a video? Sure. Some people assume that I make a video about a topic and that means I care about that topic a lot, and that's just not the case at all. Sometimes I just like yapping, and I just decided to yap about this today, and that's really about it. Caring about how many Stanley Cups you have, like, caring about that requires me to care about you as a person and your actions, and I don't care about you. Sorry. I know that's mean. People are like, damn, that's cold. You say you don't care about me? Of course I don't. I don't know you. A, and B, when I say I don't care, I mean that as indifference. You know what the opposite of love is? It's not hate, it's indifference. Okay, so when I say I don't care, it's not that I hate you and I want you dead in a ditch, never to be found or seen again. Whatever you do, it will not affect me or my mood, okay? Indifference. Some of you need to practice that. With all that being said, what's your go-to water bottle? Do you think that reusable cups should be trends or not? Do you think that Stanley Cup collectors should be banished to the 9th circle of hell to repent for their crimes? Gay son or thought daughter? Please explain your answers in the comment section below, and I'll grade you. Okay, this is very great. Anyway, that's all I got for you. Thanks for watching the video. Yeah, some people have said that I yap too much. I really wish I had the mental capacity to care about that, but I really don't. I love talking. It's so fun. Over here on this channel, on the WURLD channel, I don't know about all those other boring channels, but over here, we like to have fun. Catch a vibe. If you want me to get to the point, go watch the news. Like, seriously, they get to the point. But thank you for watching this video. If you like the video, give it a like or don't. I don't care. Subscribe if you want or don't. Doesn't matter to me. We are getting, guys, I don't bring up subscriber counts too terribly often because I always feel braggy, and that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to express my gratefulness, my gratitude for you. We're getting close to 100K. That's so exciting. That's so fun. Thank you so much for watching and enjoying the content. It's really, I appreciate it. I don't like to get sappy on you, and I'm not going to because I'm too tired. Thanks for watching the video. Okay, bye.